Hey, it's Ted McGrath. Welcome to today's show. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to close 10K, 100K clients using podcasts, webinars, and also in-person stages or virtual stages. So this is my new channel. If you are visiting my Ted McGrath channel, that's where all the finance content is. That brand blew up over there. So we had to create a new and separate channel for my business, marketing, sales, and speaking stuff. So here we go. I did a seminar this weekend. It was a 2-day mastermind that I did initially, followed by a 3-day event called Stage Empire. And I'm going to walk you through the presentation techniques that I taught in the actual seminar. So first, I'm going to go through the structure of a presentation. Then I'm going to go through the closing techniques. So presentation piece, I'm going to go through really fast, and then I'm going to jump right into the closing techniques. Okay, so when you're presenting, the first thing you want to do is you want to introduce the actual presentation with a headline. A headline is something that's specific, it's measurable, it's outcome driven, and you want to address your ideal audience for this. That's number one. Number two, in a presentation, you want to get into the problem, identify 2 or 3 challenges that the customer is facing. Number 3, you want to introduce the opportunity that you're there to talk about today. Number 4, you want to get into your personal story. Number 5, you want to get into 3 pieces of content. And then number 6, you want to drip success stories throughout the presentation to actually get people to see how they can deliver and produce results with your training or your program. So that is a basic presentation structure. Now, when you get into closing, I'm just going to jump in how you go from the presentation to the actual close. And so when you're getting into a close, you actually want to build a bridge between the presentation, which is the content, and the close. And so most people, when they're doing pitches, they will forget to build a bridge. And then the audience is like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like, he's making a pitch to me right now. This is strange. So if you're delivering all this great content, you could say something like, hey, I'm really glad that you enjoyed my presentation today. And ultimately, I can only share so much with you in 20 or 30 minutes on this training. But if you'd like to continue your education with me, you can go ahead and click down below, and I'm going to give you access to one of my free trainings. Inside this free training, I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'm going to show you how to solve this. I'm going to give you a plan and path to do this. So that's like a bridge at the end of like a content piece, like let's say a podcast that you're doing and you're being interviewed, and you get to the end of the interview and the interviewer's like, hey, tell us any final things that you want to say to your audience. And then you kind of build the bridge. If you're on let's say a webinar presentation and you're doing a presentation and you've just shared great content and you want to build the bridge into the pitch, you would use exactly that. And then additionally, if you're on a stage or a virtual stage and you're going to sell something, you would do exactly that as well. So the whole key to actually delivering a presentation and then easing your way into the pitch is by creating what's called a bridge. You just bridge the communication between the presentation and the sale. Again, I'll give it to you one more time. So you're delivering content. People are liking your content. You get to the end, you know it's time for some type of offer. So you say something like, hey, I really hope that you enjoyed the content I'm sharing with you today. I could go on for days and days delivering content, and we only have 20 to 30 minutes on this training. So if you'd like to continue your education with me, then I'd like to invite you to do X, Y, Z. So that simple statement there is literally just a bridge to get somebody to go, oh, wow, okay, he's now inviting me to continue my training. And so it now makes the ease into the sale a lot simpler. So number one, create the bridge. Number two, when you're going to get into the pitch, depending on what you're offering, let's say you're selling something. So this weekend, in front of a room, I sold, a $33,000 training to a bunch of clients in my seminar room. And so I created the presentation, I did the bridge into the pitch. And then before I get into what they're going to get when they join my training, I give them what I call the container. And the container is the concept in the customer's head of how they're going to consume this training they're going to buy. So if I just say like, hey, join my training. Step number 1 is this. Step number 2 is this. Step number 3 is this. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, how am I actually going to receive this training? But if I say, I want to invite you to XYZ training, and when you work with me, you're going to be with me in a year-long mastermind, and you're going to visit with me 3 times a year for 2 days at a time in person, then all of a sudden you get, oh, here's the container or the structure of how Ted's going to deliver his training to me. If I was doing an online training, I would say, great. So I'd like to invite you to continue your education with me. And I want to invite you to join my online coaching program called XYZ. And so I'm giving them the structure of how they're going to receive it. If you're doing a free offer, you say something like, I hope you really enjoyed the content today. I could go on and on. I've shared 20, 30 minutes of value with you. And if you'd like some help implementing this and you want to continue your education with me, book a free consultation. And during that free consultation, we're going to do this, this, and this. So the point is, you share with people the structure or the container, how they're going to receive the training from you. And this is really like powerful when you can do it this way. We got Cami on there. What's up, Cami? You received some of this live, which is cool. I'm glad to hear that. So basically, you do the structure of what's going to be in the training. And then once you do that, then you go into the pitch. And the pitch is, I need to know what you're going to deliver to me in linear steps. So if it's a coaching program, a consulting program, or a service, what's step one that you're going to deliver to me? And you need to tell me step one. And you need to say step one in anywhere from 5 to 9 words. It doesn't need to be long. If I say step one is how to find your life story and message to attract your perfect clients, that's a step. And I don't need to say anything more than that, because if it's good, like find a story, message, attract clients, anybody understands that. The moment you go into, great, step one's going to be this, and you go ba 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 ba, the client doesn't receive it. So you just tell them what the step is. Now the key after you share a step when you're pitching somebody is it makes sense to share a testimonial. And if you want to know one of the keys to pitching from the stage or even pitching virtually when you're doing a longer presentation like I was doing this weekend, one, you can either have people there to give real testimonials, which isn't real for a lot of people because they can't gather people to do that. But two, you can say step one is this, and let me share with you how Moitza was able to find her story in a message and enroll her first 23 clients. And I play the video. And it's an amazing thing because if I just tell you 5 to 9 words and then I show you the success of somebody doing it, you got the concept of what I'm selling in step one. And then I played the video of a success story to make the concept real. And the biggest problem with selling is that the customer doesn't think that it's real because they have a concept and they're like, how would I apply this? And how would this work? And I don't understand what you're saying. But then you go, let me show you how it worked for Joe or Sarah. And you show a real live situation of how this worked. And the customer goes, oh, wow, I understand. So you go through step one, testimonial. Then you go into step two. Tell them what it is. 5 to 9 words. That's it. 5 to 9 words. And then you give them a testimonial. And the biggest problem that I see that people have when they're trying to sell something is they say something and then they keep saying it and they talk past the point where the customer has a realization. If I say step number 2 is going to be how to package your knowledge and your experience into programs so you can get paid what you're worth, I said in maybe 9 to 11 words there what it is. And so the customer's going, oh, package my knowledge and experience into programs so I can pay what I'm worth. Okay, cool. That's interesting. And they receive it. And then you go, let me tell you how this worked for Joe, who had no program, didn't think his knowledge and expertise was worth anything. And look at what happened with Joe. And I play the video, and then Joe is talking about his success. So if you want to make selling the easiest thing on the planet for you, and I can tell you selling in groups is when you get good at it, it's the most fun thing I've ever done. Like it's one of the most fun experiences one could ever have, I think, from the stage is one, actually telling stories is first and pitching is number 2. So the pitch, when you can actually do it this way and you can share success stories, it becomes easy and it's fun. So again, when you're pitching, step 1, success story. Step 2, success story. Now, If you're going to go through 5 steps, let's say, you don't have to do step 1, success story, step 2, success story. You can do step 1, success story, step 2, 3, success story, step 4, 5, success story. Done. And you drip 3 or 4 success stories through that part of the pitch. So now, when you get through the steps of your program or your service, which again, you got to tell them the step. It should be in 5 to 9 words, maybe a little bit longer. Share a success story and move on to the next step. That's it. And so by the time you get done with the 5 steps of your service or your consulting program or your coaching program or your online course that you're selling, and you're done saying, here's the 5 things, then you tell them, great. So let me tell you what the value of this training is. And so the reason you want to do value pricing is because if you don't tell the customer the value of what you're offering, then they don't know. And a lot of people think that this is like a sales technique of, wow, he's going to go, okay, so it's $100,000 today. No, it's 70,000. No, it's 50. No, it's $30,000 today. It's not the drop for the reason of dropping from a quote unquote psychological perspective. That's not what you're trying to do. Think of a customer's point of view where they don't actually know the value of something because they're new. So if I don't tell them like why this could be valuable for them and how valuable this could be, they're left with an unknown. And so then I go, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the investment is this, and there's no comparative data. And one doesn't really truly know what something means without comparative data. Imagine if there was only a cold without a hot, you wouldn't know what cold was. So if I just give you pricing, you don't know what pricing means unless you compare it to something. So you always do value pricing. Now, a trick that you can use is if you go through step 1 of your training, which I like to do, and I go, great, step 1, what did I do this weekend? I said step 1 was how to package your knowledge and your experience into group programs so you can scale online. So that was step 1 that I was selling this weekend because my group was a little bit more ahead in advance. And so I shared this as step 1. And I said, the value of this to you, if you're brand new doing this for anybody, is at least $30,000. And then I walked them through why this one tool was worth and valuable to them at a $30,000 price point. And I told them, I said, the one thing that you should look at as you're going out to sell your knowledge and expertise is people think in too short of time frames. So when they're selling something, they're like, I want to get the result now. I want to get the thing like right now. But I'm like, what would this one tool or skill be worth to you 90 days from now? What would be worth to you 1 year from now? What would be worth to you 10 years from now? And this applies pretty much to anything. It's like, wow, like let's say I was in the health business and I'm teaching somebody to lose weight and they were able to lose 20 pounds and keep it off for the next 10 years. What's that worth to them? Their self-esteem, their confidence, their health, their family, their joy. It's worth a lot. So value should be actually inserted in each step of the pitch when you're delivering this to a customer. And so by the time you get done with step 1 and you get done with step 2 and you get done with step 3 and the customer's seeing the value, like, wow, I could totally see how this could be worth $10,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. So you're building value in the customer's mind by showing them outcomes of how this could show up in their life. And at the end of the day, people don't buy your service. They buy outcomes that they want. That's it. Because they don't understand your service. So unless I say this step here is going to produce these outcomes in your life, they're like, well, I don't even know what that step is. I get the concept, but how's it going to help me? So sell outcomes. And when you talk about outcomes, you link value to the outcomes and it makes the pitch so much easier. And you literally tell the customer, you can tell them during the pitch, like, hey, I'm about to go into this and I'm going to tell you what the value is and what this was worth to me. And I'm not telling you this is the pricing right now. I'm just going to tell you the value so you understand how valuable this could be to you. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And you just tell them. And they appreciate it. Go, great. So you get done with the value and you stack the value and you go, great. So the value of this training today is, $100,000. And you just write down $100,000, right, on the screen, or you have it on a PowerPoint that you got going on. The value of this is $100,000, and the investment in this training is X. And then what you want to do when you state the investment, so you can say the value is $100,000. The investment today is going to be $30,000, and you tell them. And so there's no trick. Once you say the price, you've worked the entire presentation from the beginning of the talk, where you give the headline, to establishing the problem, to telling them the solution, to telling them your personal story, to sharing 3 pieces of content, to building a bridge into the pitch, to walking them through what the pitch is. And then at this point, you just go, here's the investment. Like, the sky's blue, the water's wet. Here's the investment. That's it. And the customer's like, oh, okay. And then what you do is you introduced fast action pricing. And fast action pricing can be done like, I'll give you fast action pricing on the phone. If you take action today, I'll give you fast action pricing at this seminar. I'll give you fast action pricing, if you buy on today's webinar training. And so you want to do some type of fast action pricing or some type of fast action bonus. And here's why you want to do that. Because people need reasons to take action. And particularly when you're pitching from the stage or you're pitching in groups, you need to give them a reason to take action right now. And if you don't, you're not there to handle their objections. So if you're not there to handle their objections and you can't have a communication cycle with them, guess what happens? You say the price is the investment's this, and they go, oh, I'll do it later. I can just get it next week. So you give them fast action pricing, and you give them a reason to act. Another thing, once you do the fast action pricing, that I would do is I would add a bonus in. Like, we do something for our year-long clients where we go, great, so when you sign up today, the fast action pricing is this. And if you work with us in our community, not only are we going to help you package your program, not only are we going to help you get trained on sales and write your scripts, your closing scripts, your setting scripts, but we're also going to build your marketing systems out for you. And when you act today, we will literally build out your entire marketing funnel. But if you don't take action today, you can still be in the program. You just need to build it yourself. Now, who on God's green earth is going to go, no, I'll just build it out myself? On fast action pricing, sometimes people will give you this thing of like, oh yeah, like I don't care about paying the extra $3,000 or $4,000. Like, I'll just do it next week, which isn't true, but people will say that as an excuse. But when you give them like a killer bonus where like it's too good to be true, quote unquote, or too good to resist, like, oh my God, how could I resist that? Then you've hooked them in with fast action pricing and a fast action bonus. Now, these things too are like, when you're mentioning them, great. So here's the deal. When you do it today, the pricing is this. When you do it today, you get this great bonus. And you just tell them. It's like, sky's blue, water's wet. Here it is. Because when a client gets that, they're like, wow, this is good, man. This is fantastic. And they love it. All right. So again, go through the steps of your training. Tell them the value. Here's the value of my actual training. Here's the investment, and here's the fast action pricing and bonuses today. And once you've done that, you can just tell them, hey, go to the back of the room and sign up. When I'm in my seminar room, I have them stand up and grab an envelope. If I'm doing a big room where it's like, 150 or 200 people, I will have them grab an envelope. And every time somebody grabs an envelope, we play music, and it's a big show, and it's fun, and you make the experience fun. So first call to action, you can expect that you will get a percentage of the room, but probably not a big percentage of the room. Unless the presentation was so good where you make the offer and people just pop up. And I've had that before where like a big percentage of the room just pops. But I would say 30% of the time that happens where a big percentage pops. And then the other 70%, I got to go through the standard closing techniques, which is number one, handle the objections. So when you're in front of a room, one of the best things you can have is stories. I call it story closing. And you can use stories, and those stories help overcome the objections. I'll give you an example of a story. So I'm pitching in front of the room. I'm making my offer. I'm about to get into the investment, and I'll say something like, "Great, so I just told you what this investment is." And some of you in the room right now are thinking, "Wow, I'm not sure if I have the money for this," or "Wow, that's a lot of money." I said, "Let me tell you about David. David came to one of my seminars just like you. David was in the room, and I offered this envelope, and the investment at the time was $100,000. I'm not going to ask you to invest $100,000 today, but that's what the investment actually was. So I made the offer. David stood up. He grabbed the envelope. Eventually, he sat down and he met with my sales team, and he's like, "We want to do this." And they're like, "Great, give us your credit card." And he said, "Yeah, but I don't have the money." And so my sales team called me over, like, "This guy stood up. He really wants to do this. He doesn't have the money." And I said, "Okay, let me handle it." So I sat down with him. I go, "Great. I'm just going to coach you on your financial situation right now. Can we dive in? And we can just take a look at your financial situation, and maybe something will pop up." He goes, "Great." I said, "Great. So what do you have in checking and savings?" He's like, "I got like $2,000. Like, cool. How about credit cards? You have credit cards?" He's like, "No." How about your credit? What's your credit score? He's like, "Oh, my credit's terrible. It's bash. It's like 500 something." Okay, got it. How about any retirement accounts, like a 401k, IRA? No, I've never put any money into that. How about any stocks, mutual funds? No, none of that. Like no investments, nothing anywhere? No, nothing. Okay. How about like an emergency fund? No, don't really have an emergency fund. Just got a little bit of money in checking account. I make $200,000 a year. I spend it all. Blah, blah, blah. I go, "How about a rainy day fund?" He goes, rainy day fund. He goes, "My mom just passed away a few months ago, left me $100,000. And I look at him, I go, "Hey, you think it's raining?" And he smiled and he laughed and he invested in the program. Now, I tell that story in front of a seminar room. And the moment I tell that story about taking David through those questions, the entire room is going through those questions in their head: checking, savings, 401k, mutual funds, investments, blah, blah, blah. I'm taking the whole room through the money conversation. So now they're actually looking at their money situation, because what's the toughest thing for people to confront sometimes is to look at their money. It's that simple. And it works like a charm. And so I do it through a story. Now, if I want to tell another story, there's another story I tell at the end of my talk, which is a story about my grandmother passing away. And it's kind of like a story about loss, but also about purpose. And so for the people in the room that aren't moving with the rational data, they're not moving with the money conversation, you tell them a personal story. They want to connect with you. And so you tell them a personal story that's a moment of loss or a moment of purpose, and that moves that portion of the room. And then the regular standard things you do from there is you just address the objections that people have. I have to think about it. Now's not the right time. And so when you address those, you say, "Hey, there's some of you in this audience right now going, hey, I really need to think about this. This is a lot. It's a big investment. I need to think about it." And I said, "I know that's going through your mind, but I want to challenge you right now to really think about it now. Like, don't walk out of this room and go think about it, because then you'd be thinking by yourself. You can just really follow the presentation, pay attention to what I'm saying, think about all the great content that I shared with you this weekend. And as you're thinking about the great experience that you've had, think about that. As you're thinking about the future that you want, think about that. But don't just go, I'm going to think about it, because that's not doing anything right now. That's just sitting there being effect of the conversation. So as you're thinking about your future, as you're thinking about what you want, why don't you just think about grabbing that envelope right now and standing up and stepping in? And boom, the rest of the room pops. And you just handle the considerations. When I'm in a seminar room, because I've been doing this for years, if somebody doesn't grab an envelope or stand up, I'll go, "Hey, what are you thinking?" Right there. Like, I can see that you're interested. What are you thinking? Just tell me. And they'll tell me. And then I'll handle what they're thinking about, and I'll handle that one person. And then everybody else in the room who's thinking about it stands up. So presenting from the stage is basic fundamentals. And yes, you need to get good at it. But if I break it down into the simplicity, it's like, here's the steps of my training. Here's the value of my training. Here's the investment today. Here's the fast action pricing and fast action bonus. Now let me handle your objections, and let me keep telling you to grab an envelope, click down below, go to the back of the room, whatever platform you're on, and you just tell them to keep doing it. And you give multiple offers, like saying like, great. So if grab an envelope right now, if you're thinking about this and don't think about it, grab the envelope, right? If you're thinking it's a money situation, I just showed you a David, you should grab an envelope, and you just handle each consideration. You make a call to action, meaning like grab the envelope, go to the back of the room, click down below, and you'll probably make that call to action. Sometimes I'll do it in a room 10, 11 times, but it won't be like, hey, go to the back of the room. Hey, go to the back of the room. It'll be like, go to the back of the room. And then I'll tell a story, and I'll say it again, and then I'll handle objection, and then I'll say it again, and I'll do it in the flow of a good presentation that makes it receivable by the audience. And that's how you pitch. And it's really that simple from that perspective. And then I'll give you one other tip, and then we'll close out. And if you're interested in learning how to do this, if you want to actually take your own presentation and you want to scale it across multiple platforms, because that's what we do. I've got my new book here. It's called Stage Empire. And it's about one talk, one story, all platforms. And so if you have a presentation and you want to scale it on podcasts, webinars, YouTube shows, stages, etc., it shows you how to develop this one presentation and then scale it. So if you're interested in that, there's a link down below. You can click on it and you can schedule a call with my team. What will happen on that call is, number one, they'll talk to you about, hey, what's your offer? Like, what's your knowledge, your expertise? Have you packaged it up properly? What's the pricing of it? And they'll give you some input. Number two, they'll talk about the challenge that's preventing you from going one to many. Like the one-to-one model it's good, but it's not scalable. So how do you go one to many in your selling? How do you go one to many in your delivery? And number three, they'll give you a plan and path to go build your own stage empire and get out there and then pick one money stage. So what's your money stage going to be? Is it going to be YouTube? Is it going to be in-person stages like I just did this weekend? Is it going to be webinars? Like, pick a money stage and then get good at that money stage. Ultimately, you could expand and do multiple money stages, but you pick one to start and you get good at it. So if you're interested, you can click down below. You can schedule a call with one of my coaches, get on the phone. If you like what they have to say and you want to join one of our trainings at the end of the free consult, you're welcome to do that. If you're not and you enjoyed the call, that's cool too. Okay. So the link's down below. Go snag it and see if we can help you with this. And the final tip I want to give you on presentations is, when you start a presentation with somebody and you're going to sell something, like, let's say you're going to sell something for $2K or you're going to sell something for $20K. Tell them early on in the presentation. Be like, great, so I'm about to get into the content right now. And just so you know, if you really enjoy the content, at the end of today's presentation, I'm going to give you an opportunity to continue your education with me and work with me. And then they know that an offer's coming. During my seminar this weekend, first day, I told them. First day, I go, great, you're here. You've invested money with me. I said, it's really simple. I'm going to give you my best stuff in the next couple of days, but at the end, you're still not going to have everything you need to master it. And mastering something is a year-long immersion, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So I'm going to give you an invitation to spend a year with me and immerse yourself in this. So when I make the offer tomorrow and the pitch comes, don't be surprised. I'm just there to help you. It'll be fun. You'll enjoy it. We'll have a good time. And that's it. And so people are like, oh, cool. That's good. And then it just gets off their mind. So in presentations today, people know that a pitch or an offer is coming. So just tell them. Just that simple. All right. So that's my final tip for you. If you do want to book a consult, it is down below. The link is down below in the thread. And I can tell you that getting some help on this, getting some coaching on this is a valuable thing. Just to really get the fundamentals, what I call the non-negotiables, nailed down. And if you're going to do anything online, there's 3 non-negotiables you need to know, particularly in presentation. One is you got to have a really good headline. So if the headline is not good, nobody clicks. Okay. Number 2, you got to have really good content. So you got to have 3 pieces of content that you're going to share with somebody that are just like your non-negotiables, that are like, this is the content that people must know. And number 3, you got to have great stories. And those are really the 3 things that go into a presentation: a good headline to hook people, great content, and stories. And if you can do that well, then you can ultimately present. All right. So if you feel like you need some help on that, the link's down below. Go book a call and we'll be happy to serve you. All right. I hope this content serves you guys. I just switched over to this channel. If you go to my Ted McGrath channel, we got like 20,000 subscribers on that channel, but my finance brand just overtook that channel. It grew so fast that we started mixing finance and business and speaking, and the algorithm didn't like it. So we had to make a decision to just kill all my other content on that channel, the Ted McGrath channel. And now we're starting to move it over here. So if you want to get content from me, from time to time, regular basis, this is a great channel to be on to do it. If you want finance content, you can go to that other channel, and that's where I'm doing my other lives. Okay. All right. I hope it serves you. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and like it down below, because we want to grow this thing up as we just started this thing recently. Okay. I'll talk to you all soon. Stay well.